Have you ever struggled with thinking under pressure as a woman in leadership? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you a few strategies that you will absolutely want to watch this video in its entirety, leaders, that can help you to start organizing your thoughts when you're under pressure. I know as leaders, sometimes it's very, very difficult for us to be able to really think under pressure because there's a lot of different scenarios and situations that are coming directly at you, perhaps all at once. And I want to share with you my over 20 years of experience as a C-suite executive, a director, and a manager, and a public speaker that can help you in your mind, in the moment, right? In the moment when you are under pressure. So you absolutely want to watch this video to the end. If you like this content so far, then feel free to like this video. It does allow it to get to more individuals here on the YouTube algorithm. If you are watching this portion of the video, you are more than likely watching the live. So I appreciate the actual replay. I appreciate you being here today and spending a few moments out of your day with me. There's typically a point on the YouTube lives when people will start to join. So give me just a few moments so I can at least say hello to everyone, welcome them to the live, and then we'll go right into some of the strategies that I have found that will help you when you're in the middle of a situation and you are thinking under pressure, and have some type of format in place where you can think under pressure. Now, why is this such an important topic? As leaders, you are the individuals who are leading the group. Maybe you are leading in your organization. Maybe you're leading in the business that you've started. Excuse me, everyone. Maybe you're leading a project, and the leaders themselves are set apart from the followers. I truly believe that. And so how can you set yourself apart? Sorry for the bumps. Sorry, you're going to set yourself apart as a leader. Well, one of the ways you can set yourself apart as a leader is how you are communicating to your team when you're under pressure. So before I go into the strategy I want to share with you today, I want to say hello to Baby 3. Hello, Baby 3. Hope you're doing well today. Feel free to let me know where you are joining from in this big, beautiful world today. And I appreciate the heart emojis. So as I mentioned, leadership can be really challenging. You do want to present yourself as a person who is more calm under pressure. Now, there's different thoughts out there in terms of when you're under pressure, what do you do, how do you manage yourself, and etc. So I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. Specifically, if you go to my live tab, that's where most of the action is right now on my channel. And I have a lot of videos that talk about thinking under pressure, managing your emotions under pressure, a lot of things under pressure. So this is something that I have had a lot of experience in. I've been in very friendly conversations, and I've been in very, very, very contentious conversations. So more of the challenging situations you may be facing, or challenging conversations that you may be having, that is where my expertise lies. I deal with more of the challenging discussions that you have to have. But specifically, let's talk about being under pressure. So I appreciate everybody for joining today. Welcome, welcome. Glad you all are here today. Feel free to say hello and let me know where you are joining from in this beautiful world today. And I want to know from you, have you ever had a hard time thinking under pressure as a leader? Let me know in the comments below. Or maybe you have some strategies that you want to share in terms of how to think under pressure. Let me know. Let us know. Because we have individuals that are watching live right now, and then we'll have individuals that will watch the replay. So you absolutely want to help everybody grow, help us all develop as leaders, and really communicate at that higher level. That is what I focus in on my channel. I genuinely believe that people become great by how they communicate. And so my role, my mission here on this earth is help to unlock the greatness within you, to help you communicate at a higher level than your peers so that you stand out from everybody else as a leader. Now, what can you do in terms of thinking under pressure? How can we think under pressure? Well, let me start off our live by saying this. Most of the time, when there are high pressured situations that have happened, there are either two scenarios that occur. Either you know what to do or you don't. And what I've found that happens often in leadership, and perhaps not even the leaders, maybe your people that are your direct reports, is people will completely just blank in their mind. Their mind just goes complete blank when there's a high pressure situation that goes on. So why is that? Why does this blank thoughts, why do they come into your mind when you're trying to think under pressure? And I know a lot of my clients struggle with this. We talk about it in our one-on-one executive coaching sessions. If you've ever struggled with how to really think under pressure, then contact me for a strategy session. It's in the description below. If you're a woman in leadership, if you're a man in leadership, I'm here to support you on your journey. I know that you're trying to elevate how you communicate, so the information here on our YouTube channel will be very, very helpful to you also. So why do people just blank? Oftentimes it's usually because there's so much going on in your mind that your mind just can't process it. It's just like, you got this, all this going on, and you can't process everything. So before I go into what's the first strategy you should do, let me see what's going on in the chat. I saw something pop up. We have Bug Snug 123. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And let me know where you're joining from in the big, beautiful world today. Bug Snug 123 says, you are so pretty. Well, thank you, Bug Snug 123. I appreciate that. I appreciate the comment. And let's see, Bug Snug 123 says, please, where are you going? I'm in transit right now, actually, to a meeting. So I'm in transit going to a meeting. This is my morning commute. I'm typically live here on YouTube Tuesday through Friday. Most of the time my lives are in the evenings, and for now I'm doing a mix of both. So my lives are in the evenings. I started doing morning lives because I want to be able to provide my audience with as much value as I can, morning and evening if I can. So that's where I am. And Bug Snug 123 says, please call me Bug. Okay, Bug. I will absolutely call you Bug. Ronald Ard. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? Let me know where y'all are joining from the big, beautiful world today. Appreciate you being here. As I mentioned, when pressure situations happen, people either know what to do or they don't. And sometimes they may know what to do, but because it's just too much information that they're trying to process, they just go blank in their mind. They literally go blank and don't know what to do. So the first strategy I want to share with you in terms of how can you start thinking under pressure. This is my first go-to that I personally do. As I mentioned, I've been a C-suite executive, I've been a director, I've interacted with congressional leaders over the years on the state and the federal level. I've been in some really challenging conversations, leaders, I really have. And the first thing you need to do is to focus. You have to really, really focus on what is happening and what's actually taking place in the moment. So let me see what's going on. So let's see, Bug says, gotta go, see you tomorrow. All right, Bug, well, I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you for being here today, friend. So as I mentioned, you have to focus. The first thing is you have to focus. So if there's anything else that's going on in your mind, perhaps you have some other fires, as we call them in leadership, that you need to put out. You have to focus. You have to take everything that was in your mind that may have been like at the forefront of your mind. It all has to go to the back. Whatever this issue is, you have to just completely focus on the issue. That's it. Everything else can wait. Everything else can wait. You have to focus on whatever that specific issue is. That's why focus is really the first thing that I have found to be successful if you are trying to think under pressure. As I mentioned, some people just can't think under pressure because there's just too much for them to process. But if you try these strategies I'm sharing with you, it will absolutely help you to be able to start thinking under pressure as a leader, so that you're presenting yourself as the leader that you want to be perceived as. Most people want to be perceived as a leader who is a mix of both, who is very, very approachable, very calm, but can be that executive and display that executive presence when needed. So you want to project that. How you are able to manage situations under pressure and think under pressure is going to be a defining moment in your leadership journey, regardless of what level you are as a leader. So as I mentioned, the first strategy is you have to focus. You have to focus on exactly what's going on. Everything else that was on your mind, whether it's another conversation you're supposed to have, maybe it is a situation you have going on with an employee or with a team member, you can't think about it. You have to really just focus on what it is you have to take care of at that moment. So my second strategy, before I go into that, I want to know from you all, have you ever had any challenges when you were trying to think under pressure? Maybe you've experienced that blankness that I talked about, where you're just like overwhelmed, you don't know what to do as a leader. Let me know in the comments below and we can talk about it, and I can give you some additional support. while I'm here to help you all go to that next level in your journeys as leaders. So the second strategy I want to share with you, outside of focusing. So the first thing you have to do is just focus. Everything else has to go away in your mind. You have to focus on this very, very important, very pressing situation, this fire you have to deal with. As I mentioned, we say in leadership world, what exactly is it that you have to focus on? The second strategy I want to share with you, if you're trying to think under pressure, is that you have to know what is going on. You have to know what is going on. Why do I say you have to know what's going on? If you focus on the situation, somebody tells you this situation is pressing, it's urgent, we got to deal with it right now. You have to know what's going on. Like, what's the problem? What is the problem? What is the problem? And the best way you to know what the problem is that you have to ask people, what is the problem? Now, I have several videos on my YouTube channel where I talk about how you gain, how you gain information. Sorry, I've been like a bit under the weather here, but how you gain information in those crisis moments. So I'm not going to go into detail on that specifically, but you have to know what the problem is. I will give you a teaser into some of those videos I talk about on my live channel. Specifically, you want to gather information from trusted sources. And that's a teaser to it. You have to get information about this situation from people you trust, from people that you know will give you accurate information. There are people in your teams, in your businesses, in your organizations who will give you information, and it might be somewhat correct, but they may over-exaggerate it. And you don't need over-exaggerated information when you're trying to think under pressure. You need exactly this is a problem, this is the issue, this is the situation. You don't need over-exaggerated information. You can't think under pressure and make those executive decisions if you do not have the right accurate information. Because then you have to go back, you have to apologize, you didn't have all the information. And if you don't really have to go back and do that, nobody really wants to go back and apologize for something that they said or something that they did because they didn't have the information. Now, there are going to be times in your leadership journey where this will happen. You will not have all the information, but you have to make a decision anyways. That happens. That happens in leadership. You can see it all the time in the world today, in organizations, etc. However, getting information from very accurate individuals, people you trust, is critically important. So, second strategy is you have to find out what's going on. Third strategy is, what is the solution? Now, I say this as the third strategy because this is actually very, 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 very important. Because you need to know what's the solution, what is the result, what is the end outcome that you need to have for this specific situation. What is it? What is it specifically? So when you're able to know the end result, then you can start to reverse engineer and figure out, okay, I know I'm focused, I'm hearing, I'm listening to what the person is saying. I know what the problem is. I know what the solution is. Then you go into my third strategy. So I want to know from you, how have you managed those situations when you've had to think under pressure? How have you managed them? Let me know in the comments below. What are some strategies that you can share with the rest of us that are watching that may help them be able to think under pressure? So we talked about those three strategies. You have to know what the end result is. What is the end result? What is the big solution? What is the big win that you need to resolve whatever this issue is that you're dealing with at the time? Once you know that, then we have to go back, okay? And I do this purposely for a reason, because you have to know where you're going in order to fix the problem. It's almost like you have to have a bit of foresight in terms of what it is that is the situation, what can you do, how can you resolve the issue, so that you can come up with a plan in terms of how you want to modify it or how you want to adjust it. Now, my fourth strategy for you, and this is thinking under pressure, because all these conversations you're having, you're processing information, is what's going on, is the following. Think about, what do you know? So, for example, let me give you an example of this. You have to, if you have a situation that has happened and you are not quite sure of, you understand the problem, you understand what's going on, what the end result is, what the solution should be, then, and sorry, the light's kind of bright in this area, then you'll want to say, okay, I know the problem, I know the solution, I know how I want to solve it. Now, what can I do to solve it? Meaning, what information do I actually know that can actually help me in this particular situation? What you know is very important when you're thinking, because if you're in those situations where you're trying to think under pressure, you have to have some form of a knowledge base. So this is why it's incredibly important, regardless of what leadership you role, and especially as a woman in leadership, it's good for you to have what we say in the policy world. You have to have a little bit of knowledge about a lot of things. So you need to know specifically the ins and outs of your industry. You need to know what is it that is going on in your industry, maybe in your business, maybe this issue that you're thinking under pressure about is related to a project that you're dealing with. Maybe you need to know a lot about the project. And so some of this happens before the pressure situation arises. So it's always very, very, very important to just be that person that is in the know, that knows what's going on, that keeps up with things. You may read different news articles or journals, or perhaps you watch YouTube videos, depending on your discipline and your industry. But always take time to know a bit of information about your field specifically, so that when those pressure situations come up, you can think through them and provide a response. So an example of this would be, let's say you are applying for a grant or something like that. And let's say if you're applying for some type of grant, and let's say, for instance, you are in a situation where you are, hold on just one moment. There is someone that's saying something very inappropriate, and I had to delete it. I had to report it to YouTube. So I'm sorry about that for those of you who happen to see it on the live video. I had to report that comment because that was completely inappropriate. I don't tolerate nonsense on my channel, and I definitely don't tolerate nonsense that is saying something that is not, it's just, I don't even want to say what was said because it was just completely inappropriate. But nonetheless, it happens on YouTube sometimes. You'll have people make really offensive comments or say things that are really offensive. And as soon as I see them in the chat, I usually will try to do that. So I would say that, you know, when you have people like that, you just have people that are just being silly. You know, they're being silly. And this, you know, I want to make sure that I have a really very creative environment for you all to think as leaders and be in a situation where you can really process information. We can learn and grow together as leaders without people saying comments that are completely distracting, because I'm actually here for the person that is making this comment. I'm not even going to say their name because it's not worth my time, but I do want to say for that person that was making this comment that was completely inappropriate, asking me a question personally was inappropriate, that this channel, I'm actually here to make leaders. I'm actually here to help leaders go to that next level in their careers and communicate at a higher level, because we need more leaders in the world today. So if you want to ask really explicit questions to someone on a live, this isn't the place for you, friend. I'm sorry, because this is the place where you will be completely dismissed and ignored and never be on the channel again. So that's just something I want to mention to my audience. I value my audience's opinion, and I really appreciate them being here with me. And so to have someone come onto the channel to say something really inappropriate in a comment in the chat that is visible to people that are watching live is something I don't tolerate on my channel, because ultimately at the end of the day, I am here on YouTube and it is still my channel, and I don't tolerate nonsense like that. So this is how you think under pressure. Okay, I'm doing this in real time with you all right now. You have to see, you have to gather information. You know what's going on. You have to know little things. So let me give you an example. And I know this is a bit off topic, and I'll wrap up here in just a few. But let me give you some perspective in terms of how I was able, because this was a bit of a pressure situation. This is actually the first time I've seen someone make a comment specifically to me that was really inappropriate. So the first thing I did was I saw what happened. Okay, I had to focus. And I was talking to you all about the situation that actually took, in terms of what was going on. But I had to take a moment. If you realize what I just did, and this is in real action. So let me know in the comments below if you all have any questions about it. But this is actually thinking under pressure in real action. I didn't anticipate on this happening today, but I want to walk you through what I did. So the first thing I did was I had to focus. So if you remember, what did I say? I said, hold on just a second. I need to do something really quickly, because I saw the comment. Okay, I saw the comment that came up, and I said, hold on just a second. I need to do something really quickly. So I went through, and I knew, and this is how I'm sharing with you this information I'm sharing with you. This is real things that happen, leaders. These are real situations that happens, whether you are in a business setting, in a meeting, or etc. I'm sharing with you strategies that actually work. These strategies are not academic strategies. These are not theories, hypotheses. A lot of times you hear about that on YouTube and leadership models. I don't do that. I'm telling you really what happens, like really seriously what happens, and how you manage it, and how you manage it professionally and still remain your cool and be calm. So I told you I had to hold on just a second. Let me see what's going on. So that was my first strategy. I had to focus. Okay, focus. Second, in this particular case, what did I do? I had to figure out what's going on. Okay, I had my information. My information at that time was looking at the chat. I looked at the chat and I saw the comment and I saw what they said. And I said, okay, that's bad. That's not appropriate. That's really explicit. Let me handle this. And so that's why I started to move the channel. The person came back and was making another comment, of course. And then I had to go back and readdress. But ultimately, I had to think through this and figure out what to do. Now, the knowledge piece of it, I just shared with you a moment ago when this person made this really inappropriate comment, is that I knew, and I know, and for those of you who are watching lives or planning on doing your YouTube channel in the future or doing live streaming, I know the features that YouTube has. The features that YouTube has is that if there's someone that is making a inappropriate comment, or if they are saying something explicit or rude or any of those issues, there is a feature that you can do to report it to YouTube. So you can report this to YouTube so that YouTube knows this person is not appropriate. They're being inappropriate. What you do is you click on their name and report it to YouTube. Then the person came back and made a comment, and that is when I blocked them from my channel. Now, this is that knowledge piece that I shared with you all a few moments ago that is at the end. So in my mind, my decision-making tree for this situation that happened, where this was a pressured moment for me, is that I said, okay, I have to focus. I told you all, hold on just a second. Let me work on this, because I knew what I had to do. What's the end result? The end result for me for this situation is I have to get this comment off my channel. This is explicit. This is inappropriate. I have to get this comment off of my channel. And I knew what I needed to do. I knew the end result, but I had to go back and say, okay, what are some things that I know for me to do to get this off my channel? This is that knowledge base that I mentioned to you all that is critically important when you're in those pressure situations, because if you don't know those things, like for instance, if I didn't actually know that on YouTube, I have the ability for me to report the comment to YouTube, to block the person from the channel if they're saying something explicitly inappropriate. If it's something that they completely, maybe they disagree with me, that is not what I would do. I would just have a conversation about it. But if it's inappropriate and explicit and something I don't want my live audience to see, then I knew I had those resources available. So then I can communicate with you all about it and tell you exactly why I removed this comment from my channel and what was going on in real time. If I didn't know those features were available for you on YouTube, if I hadn't collected that knowledge, and I didn't even need the knowledge, right? I didn't necessarily go and say, how can I resolve this issue? I have to stop my live and figure it out. No, I already looked this information up. I already knew this because I've dealt with contingent situations, not only as a leader, but on my YouTube channel too, unfortunately. But that the part of you just knowing a lot of information as much as you can really will help you in those very high pressured moments. So I hope that this live video was helpful to you. This is actually what really can help you as a leader when you are thinking under pressure. And even though the live was intended to just talk to you about thinking under pressure, I did not expect that I was going to have a rude and explicit comment made on my channel where I was going to have to think under pressure and show you all what happens in real time and how it can help you. So if this video has been helpful to you, feel free to leave a thumbs up. Appreciate you if you like this information, and if it resonated with you and if you learned something from it, then let me know in the comments below. Let me know, what did you learn from my video about thinking under pressure, because I just showed you all in real time what happens and how you can think under pressure as a leader. I live this life every single day, and so what I share with you all is what I do personally, what I do with my audience, how I help them go to that next level in their journeys. And I deal with the hard things. I deal with the very hard, the complicated situations that come up, and that's just my expertise. So Fadim Yavuz, hello, welcome. Hope you're doing well. I'm actually just wrapping up the live, but take a look at a couple other videos I have in terms of managing your emotions under pressure. That's a good video. There is another video that I have that talks about thinking on your feet. That's a really good video to watch also, that will help you on your journey. Any of the videos really on my live channel will really help you tremendously to go to that next level and be able to start managing those challenging situations that come up, because they do. And this is a part of the wonderful world of leadership, is that you have to be available to handle the very friendly and the unfriendly comments that come your way, but handle them and have a conversation and basically showcase your executive presence in real time, to show that you are the leader, you are the bigger person, you are at that higher level than the person who is trying to give you a hard time. So I hope this information helped you, and this is actually real live scenario of in real time, excuse me, managing thinking under pressure. So I hope you all have a fantastic day. Join me later this evening to go live. I may talk about this topic a bit more. I may talk about something else a bit differently. Just depends. Let me know in the comments below what you need support with, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.